get you a detailed explanation on the significance of these strikes.
The United States has launched an unprecedented attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran. Those sites include the facility at Isfahan and their underground facilities at Natanz and Fordow. Now, Fordow is dug deeply under a mountainside, and it's long been believed that America would need to use specialized bunker-busting bombs to destroy the facility. Now, Iran has acknowledged these attacks, but we don't yet know just how much damage has been done. President Donald Trump has addressed the nation from the White House. He warned Iran not to launch any attacks in response. However, we've heard from Iranian officials all the way up to Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei that any American attack in the region would draw an immediate Iranian response. So as of right now, we're waiting to see what the reaction is, how much damage has been done, and how the wider Middle East responds. But this region's been on edge since the Israel-Hamas war started back in 2023, and now it looks like everything has just escalated.
There's so much mystery, Major Arya, about Fordow. You know, it's you know what, the kind of suspense that had built up around the Kairana Hills. Ye Fordow hai kya? How would you know, explain it to our viewers who are joining the broadcast on Times now? How important, you know, critical, etc., is Fordow?
I think, it's like legends are built over a period of time, because the Israelis, this is not the first time the Israelis have tried to do anything with Fordow. It's happened a few times before as well, and Israelis have always failed. And whenever the Israelis failed, the legend of Fordow grew. So this is some sort of a red flag as far as the Israelis are concerned. It's like waving the red flag. They get upset when they hear about Fordow because there has been Israeli failure in the past simply because of technology. It's not for will, it's for capability. Israelis had the will, but they had the intent, but they never had the capability. Now, Fordow is extremely important, not just because of what is done inside Fordow, right from enrichment, etc. That is not why Fordow is so important. It is important because of the sense of defiance in the Iranian mind, that Fordow is a place that nobody can touch. Fordow is absolutely, in strategic terms, almost untouchable. You can't bomb Fordow, and as long as Fordow remains intact, our missile and nuclear missile program and our nuclear weapons program will continue, and there is nobody who can do pretty much about it, anything about it. So this is why Fordow is so important. See the psychological impact. It's not that they are not doing something in Isfahan. It's not like they are not doing anything in Natanz. They're doing it in many places, half a dozen places. But when you hit Fordow, you hit at the very core of Iranian belief that as long as Fordow remains standing, we remain standing. They have smashed that this early morning.
Right. Srinjoy also knows a thing or two about Fordow, and we are being told that Iranian authorities have said that there is no contamination. Srinjoy, how do you see that?
We don't know. The Iranians may have said this, but someone who's an expert, IAEA or someone, will have to check. Also, we need to see what kind of atmospheric situations are. Is there something that can be detected in any other way? But in my mind, I do not expect any international authorities to be allowed anywhere near Fordow by the Iranians. About that, I suspect I'm clear, and any international authority will get nowhere near Fordow because the Iranians will not allow it. So how do we know that there is contamination? How do we know? We will have to look at it from other sources and check if this can be done. Let's not forget that when Chernobyl happened, people picked it up in Sweden, which was many, many 100 miles away. So if something serious has happened, you don't have to go as far as Sweden. But even from a neighboring country or a neighboring area or somewhere, if something can be picked up, if something is in the atmosphere, Now, as far as Iran is concerned, Iran will say, no, everything is in place, nothing happened, all these bunker busting bombs did nothing, they just plowed into the mountain and we are fine. That could well be the Iranian response. So we have to find out how this actually happened or what the results are. I imagine that these bombs were very effective and they have destroyed the nuclear power enrichment and enrichment plant. But to what extent and for how long, we will know later. And also, as far as the enrichment issues are concerned, well, even if that is done, what kind of contamination has happened, we will have to check out in a different way. Right. Because no international organization, no other organization will probably be allowed in by the Iranians.
Right. Major Arya, I was reading about, this is, much before the specter of war, about the might of the Iranian Navy. And I remember, although it is sketchy, about reading about naval mines, Limpet or something it was called. What do you think the IRGC Navy can do in the Persian Gulf, if it comes to that?
Very little now. Yes, they can be a nuisance. See, Iran's power depended upon largely its proxies. Iran was never thought to be a great, in fact, after the 80 to 88 Iran-Iraq war, much of their nuclear facilities had been destroyed. Now they have built up, but Iran has spent most of its monies on Hezbollah, on Hamas, and of course, its nuclear weapons programs. You've hammered Hamas, you've hammered Hezbollah, you've hammered the Houthis, right? Now you have hammered their nuclear program, you've hammered their ballistic missile program. To think that the Iranian Navy will make any difference to the overall scheme of things, of course it's going to be an irritant. Of course it's going to try and damage American platforms and Israeli platforms wherever they find them. Of course it's going to, disrupt shipping. And the reason why they will do it is very simple, because then everybody gets together and pressurizes Israel to stop the war, because oil prices are going up and, the insurance cost on these ships, these cargo ships, is so prohibitive that price of goods is going up and all of that. Of course, Iran will try that. But directly kinetic stuff, if we think that the Iranian Navy is capable of causing serious damage, no. Yes, they will carry out attacks, but serious damage, I don't think so.
Ruling out the submarine ambush potential, Ms. Verma, what do you make of, this posturing, this kind of response that, look, everything is in place, there's no contamination? Is this the case of the Iranian regime now putting up a brave face?
Something known as protecting one's own regime. So we know that, from the onset of the war, there are different stated goals by the United States, that there may be a regime change operation also in the order. But I think I was following it till yesterday and then I slept, so I don't know what is the latest situation. But as far as I know, right now there are words that it's only the nuclear program which is on target as of now, and there is no regime change operation on the cards. But then we never know, because this is a regime which has never been known to be pro-US. I mean, why would not you use the position which the current regime is in? And already, we know that their proxies have been decimated. We can see that they have already lost a lot of faith domestically. So I think this will be a great chance for the local Iranians to, again rise up in revolution. And we have been seeing that happening in the last 4-5 years. There have been so many revolutions against the regime, but there has never been that push, that moment where this has finally fallen. So I think I see a great hope that one thing that all the dictators, all the fascists always use is about the national security. They always use this card to hold on to their power. And now this whole thing, taking place in Iran, I think that there will be a great reason for the local people to stand up and say that we don't want this, we don't want nuclear power. What nuclear power when we do not have the luxury of enjoying a normal life? So I connect it with the whole, palpable tension, anxiety and anger which is there in the local Iranian people. And this is the reason why we all saw during the strikes on Pakistan as well. They never came on the record and said that, we've been hurt or these many facilities of us have been struck. they were actually throwing a party. We could see them celebrating it, and I don't know what was the celebration for. So you have to see that no dictator wants to tell people that I have lost faith, and what the national security card has also faced. So that's how I interpreted it.
Okay, you'll talk about the Pakistan, Iran, China narrative that's being talked about with Major Arya. But Pratibha, before that, quickly put things in perspective. You have a map that has a lot of detail.
Yes, absolutely. We're speaking of the regime change in Iran. Israel has said that a regime change is not the end goal, but it could be a consequence of the attacks that Israel and United States are launching. But let's talk about why this is significant. For those who are joining us now, this is unprecedented. The United States has now officially entered the war between Israel and Iran, hitting 3 nuclear sites within Iran. So let's talk about why this is significant. Deep within Iran, about 100 to 350 kilometers from Tehran, these 3 sites have been hit by the United States. The most significant one being Fordow, which was about 250 to 300 feet underground. So this is a site which has over 2,000 centrifuges. Again, a site which is significant because this was underground. It also had any airstrike hitting capability, the counter as well being put in place by Iran in a mountainous region. So this had been a secret until 2009. It was only in 2009 that the world got to know about Fordow. Natanz is one of the bigger facilities within Iran, again an enrichment facility. Isfahan as well is a facility that houses a lot of scientists, and these are the 3 places that have been hit by the United States. Very, very significant, as the United States has said that all 3 sites have now been obliterated completely. Now let's take a look at why each of these sites are also significant as we speak about why this is a big setback for Iran's nuclear program and why this is a success for Israel as well as the United States. Fordow, as we've spoken about, is one facility that has a lot of myth around it, that has a lot of folklore around it. It is deep underground. It's an enrichment site. In fact, uranium purity reaching about 60%. Israel saying that it is very, very close to the 90% that is required for nuclear capability, which is why this was the foremost target of the United States as well as Israel. It was built to withstand any attacks in a mountainous region, built within a mountain, 250 to 350 feet underground. It is in fact very close to Qom, which is a high security bunker. So this site, only the United States had the capability to actually hit this site. Israel has previously struck the site but has not able to inflict much damage. Only the United States had the capability to hit deep underground, to hit the facility completely. So it was targeted with this bunker buster bomb that was used by the United States. And Natanz is the main uranium enrichment center of Iran that has also been targeted by the United States in these strikes. And this is one facility which has above as well as underground facilities. Again, underground facilities here, but also above. So these damages will be seen very clearly in the satellite images. We can't say the same about Fordow since it is underground, but satellite images will show the impact that these strikes have had in these facilities. It has 14,000 plus centrifuges. It houses 14,000 plus centrifuges, and the power unit as well as the assembly area has been hit in these strikes by the United States. So Natanz is another big setback for Iran, a nuclear facility that has been hit. Apart from that, Isfahan has also been hit, which is the research hub, Iran's largest nuclear research hub, having several scientists from across the country working there. Missile, fuel and centrifuge units are all housed in this particular facility, which is why it is very significant to Iran. And the centrifuge workshop has been struck in this strike by the United States. As of now, Iran has said that there is no radiation leak that has been reported. They claim that all is well. There is no radiation leak that has been reported. We in fact have more breaking updates coming in. We're getting you the